everybody for joining us. We're delighted to be on the phone with you today to talk about a wonderful show happening on Saturday, April 11th, and I'm going to let somebody else tell you a little bit more about the show. We have on the call today Danny Garcia, the Unified Super Lightweight Champ, Lamont Peterson, the Super Lightweight Champion, Andy Lee, the Middleweight Champ, Peter Quillin, former Middleweight Champion, Lou DiBella, President of DiBella Entertainment, and Brett Yormark, the CEO of Barclays Center. So before we get to the fighters, I'd like to introduce Brett Yormark, and he's going to say a few words. Brett?
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate everyone joining us today. Obviously, we're very, very excited to be hosting a great event on April 11th at Barclays Center. It's our 11th professional boxing card in Brooklyn, and our goal from day one was to bring prime time, best-in-class fights to the borough of Brooklyn. And when I look back on all the events we've hosted to date, I truly believe this is the best that we've ever hosted. I want to thank Lou DiBella and his entire team for bringing this strong card together and for giving us an opportunity to, again, put the Barclays Center on a global stage. I also want to thank Al Heyman and Premier Boxing Champions for giving us an opportunity to partner with them on what I think will be just an incredible night here in Brooklyn, but also a night that people will be able to watch boxing prime time live on NBC. Obviously, we're thrilled to have Danny Garcia back in our building. The Barclays Center truly has become his home away from home, and obviously, I'm a big fan of Peter Quillin. Peter is a Brooklynite. He has had some of his finest moments at the Barclays Center, and obviously, we're looking forward to a great night from Peter on the 11th as well. But most importantly, I want to thank everyone for joining today. I want to thank all the fighters, and we're really excited about April 11th. So thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brett. Now at this time, I'd like to introduce Lou DiBella, President of DiBella Entertainment, to tell you a little bit more about the show and introduce the fighters. Lou?
Thank you, Kelly. I'm thrilled to be involved in this show, and I want to thank PBC for the opportunity to be the promoter, and thank Brett and his team, because the Barclays Center is really incredible to work with, a tremendous venue to watch boxing, and the fans are going to get an opportunity, if they come out to the Barclays Center, to see a great night of live boxing. Ringside seats were released to the public in the last 24 hours, so if you call Ticketmaster or go to the Barclays Center box office, there are tickets available. $300, ringside's $200, $150, $100, and down to a $50, extremely affordable seat. And this is a night where 4 champions will be fighting. They're champion against champion in both TV matchups. And network television in prime time is the way I grew up on boxing. That's how I got introduced to guys like Muhammad Ali as a young child, and Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Durant, Tyson. These guys all had the benefit of exposures on network television. And, the PBC on NBC, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on April 11th, the second NBC primetime boxing show. We're looking to continue the momentum right now that boxing has going for it. And, with Mayweather, Pacquiao on the horizon, and the introduction of boxing to so many new platforms and networks, getting involved once again. It's exciting times for boxing, and we're very happy to be part of it. The first fight that we'll be televising on NBC, the opening co-feature, will feature a young man that I've worked with for a number of years, Andy Lee, the pride of Limerick, Ireland, and at this point, the pride of all of Ireland. Andy scored some sensational knockouts in recent years, including the dramatic knockout over Matt Korobov, in which he won his world title belt. And his first defense is about as big as it can get against a young man who I promoted a number of times early in his career, out of Brooklyn, New York, Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin. Peter was a champion himself. This is truly a match between 2 terrific fighters, and figures to be explosive in the ring. And I'm very excited that this is a type of fight that's going to be showcased at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, but also for a national TV primetime audience on NBC at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'd like to start by introducing Andy Lee, one of the most respected and well-liked guys in the sport, tremendous gentleman inside and outside of the ring, but all of a sudden has discovered this explosive punching power that he hopes to use on April 11th when he fights Peter Quillin. Andy, can you say a few words?
Thank you all for joining me on the call today. I'm training extremely hard here in Beausoleil in Monaco, France, and I'm looking forward to coming to New York again and defending my title and beating Peter Quillin. So, look forward to seeing you all at April 11th.
Andy, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with Adam and how Adam has you working in the south of France right now? What your training camp's been like?
Really since I was back in the gym since January 12th. I've been over here. Didn't really take too much time off over the Christmas period, and came right back and continued working on the same things we were working on since before the Korobov fight. And I'm in good shape. I'm pushing me very hard, put me through, the usual thing. And we're here in South France. It's a beautiful place, and it's a great setting, a great backdrop to train. Going to the gym every day, sun is shining, and you're looking at you're looking at the ocean and the sun rising every morning. You wake up. It's beautiful. It's a great motivator when you go to the gym.
Great. Thank you, Andy. Kid Chocolate, I know you're training in sunny Santa Monica. Would you like to say a few words, Pete?
Yes, I want to first and foremost, I want to thank God just for having the opportunity to be, taking fresh breath air. I want to also thank Al Heyman for making this opportunity possible to be on Nationwide Network on NBC with PBC. I also want to thank Lou DiBella, who's the promoter, East Coast promoter on the East Coast card, promoting this such a great event. Me and Lou worked a number of years together, and I'm very happy to start out my career with him and be back in the midst where he can promote another fight of mine. And I'm just very thankful. I want to thank everybody, all the hardworking people that's involved with making this card possible. I'm just very thankful. Training has been going very, very good. I'm not the type of guy to take a lot of time off, period. I'm just in the gym all the time, focused and fit and ready to go. California is nothing different besides me being here all the time and training, being away from my family, my son, who's now almost 7 months old, and, it's been motivating to see me be a father now, and also became the link of my family now that my uncle passed away of cancer. So I have a lot of motivation within this fight.
Thank you, Peter. We're going to open it up for questions. We have two highly motivated fighters, two guys at the top of their game, in what figures to be an incredibly competitive and explosive matchup, and I think this is what boxing is all about. And the questions are open to you guys.
Go ahead, operator, open it up, please. Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. If you wish to be removed from the queue, please press the pound sign or hash key. If you are using a speakerphone, you may need to pick up the handset first before pressing the numbers. Once again, if you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. Our first question comes from Michael Wood from Sweet Science. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for taking the time to do the call. First question is for Andy Lee. Andy, I'd like your scouting report on Peter Quillin. What do you think his strengths and weaknesses are, and how do you figure to beat him?
Peter's a very good boxer, undefeated, and so that brings, its own confidence with it. And he's a good athlete, a good puncher, and a good boxer. He's a good all-round fighter. And I won't say anything about his weaknesses. Hopefully I will expose those on the fight, but I have a lot of respect for him. He's a good fighter, and we've always been respectful towards each other outside the ring as well. So I think it's going to be what you have. You have two big middleweights, big for the weight, and two genuine punchers, and also two very good boxers. So we match up pretty well in terms of our physique and everything. I think it'll come down to whoever implements their plan better on the night. And we have a plan and we're working on it, and hopefully do it on the 11th.
Question, did you break training at all to have a little celebration for St. Patrick's Day, or stay at home and not miss curfew?
Unfortunately, no, there was no celebration this year, but I always seem to be fighting around the St. Patrick's Day time, so I never really get to celebrate it, but there'll be plenty of time for that when I retire in the future. But no, we just didn't, there was no, I didn't even realise the St. Patrick's Day till about 12 p.m. in the day, and I kind of called myself and reminded myself it was St. Patrick's Day.
All right, so no breaking training. Got a question next for Peter Quillin. Peter, how you doing? I'm checking to see what you think Andy Lee's strengths and weaknesses are as a boxer.
Well, I think all around, I think very high of Andy, and I think his only weakness is that those 2 losses that he had, which could be a great thing for him because, I have never lost, never taken defeat, but I feel like everybody that has taken a defeat have to learn something positive about themselves. And, as you can see in his previous fights that Andy is, he's reinventing himself, and I think those losses helped him catapult to being a champion now. So, I think, all around this is a great fight for people to see because you have a guy who's very determined to win as a challenger now, and you have a champion that's, dedicated enough to say that he wants to, secure his championship and, give a good victory with that being said.
And what's your prediction for the fight, Peter?
The winner, the best man will raise their hand, and that could be either me or Andy. I'm not going to boast and brag about how powerful I am. I am an animal. We already know that, and I don't go in no fight thinking I'm a loser. But it's really about the fans with this fight and getting what they need, and a good fight is worth anybody losing.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for your time, guys. Be well.
Thank you.
And our next question comes from Dan Rafael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, guys. My first question is for you, Andy. I know when you won this title against Korobov, you had said a bunch of times that you were hopeful that your first defense would be a big homecoming fight. You could go to Ireland and basically, celebrate with the people and put on a defense over there. Then the business situation comes up and you end up taking this fight against Peter and coming to New York. Do you have any disappointment that you're not fighting a world championship fight in Ireland?
Not really. And hopefully, if this fight goes well after this fight, that could happen. But obviously, this opportunity came up to fight Peter, and it was for the financial reasons, it was a very good decision to make, but also for a boxing standpoint and my career on the whole, to fight Peter Quillin, a former undefeated former champion, beating him would catapult me, into the start, make me one of the stars of boxing, and I could have fought in Ireland and fought somebody comfortably, picked an opponent, and been a big deal in Ireland, and that's a great thing to be. But if I beat Peter on April 11th, I'll be a global star in boxing, and people will have to start to really acknowledge what I've been doing, especially for the last year or so. So that was one of the reasons why I took the fight. Of course, it's a great opportunity to fight in America and fight on national TV, but beating Peter Quillin takes me to the next level and puts me on the top level of boxing.
Okay, so I'm wondering. So I'm trying to gauge here. Was it a hard decision or was it a relatively easy decision to make to do the fight with Peter?
It was a relatively easy decision. If I would have fought in Ireland, there would have been a lot of promote, and it would have been a good thing, and it still will be. There'll be time for that in the future, but this was a great opportunity, and you don't know how long your career is going to be and how long it's going to last. And while it was there, I took it. I haven't looked back. I don't have any regrets.
I must ask you, and Lou mentioned it in his opening remarks about your right hook. We've always known throughout your career it's a powerful punch, but it certainly has come to the forefront in your last 2 fights against Jackson, and then when you won the belt against Korobov, where you were in fights where you were losing both fights, and you rescued the fight with just one tremendous right hook. Do you always have just the utmost confidence that no matter how things are going, you could be down, 11 rounds to 0 possibly, that right hook can always rescue you if you land it the right way?
Not to say anything to brag or anything, but at no time.
You can brag a little bit.
Even though I was behind on the cards, at no time did I ever think I was going to lose either fight. and I knew that at some stage we'd have to trade. And with the power that I carry, I know that at some point, with anybody, we're gonna have to trade. It's a 12-round fight, and you can't, there's going to be an exchange at some stage, and I just know if I land at the right time with my power, I can knock anybody out, and that does give you great confidence. But in saying that, I've always considered myself a technical boxer, and that's always what I've been proud of. I'm proud of myself on being. So people may have got the wrong impression of me, especially the last two fights, as this blood and guts fighter who comes from behind. But I'm very much a boxer, and that's what I pride myself on being.
All right, very good. I have a question for Kid Chocolate. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Peter. My question for you is: this going to be your first fight in just about about a week less than a year? You were you were on a pretty good groove. You were winning fights. You were knocking guys out, and then you go into a long layoff. I know part of it was because your wife and you had your baby, but I'm wondering, are you all disappointed it's been such a long layoff?
No, I mean that comes with the territory of being a boxer. That you can have things mapped out and planned out in your head, but that don't necessarily happen. When I seen my fight, my uncle on his deathbed with cancer, I seen what a fight really looked like. That was a real fight. That was a fight that he had no control over, preparing for, nothing. He laid in the bed in his own head thinking about having cancer, and I seen him fight through that until he had no more left in the tank to fight with. So what that taught me is, no matter how long you take it out, the fight is all in your head. So, it's about you controlling the fight in your head, and I'm able to go out there and prepare for the best fights. And there's no cancer here, so I just have to just make sure that I do what's worth, while I'm here on Earth, and just do my best. And that's all I'm worth.
Peter, what was your uncle's name, and when did he pass?
His name is Eric Munson. He died almost 5 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date, but I just know I couldn't attend his funeral because I was here in camp. So, it's a really hard thing for me not to be part of, but, everything comes with some type of sacrifice in life. And I knew, when I seen him the week before I came to camp, I went to go see him with my son because I thought it was very important for my son to be able to see him, and he seen my son. And the week after, he died and passed away, and I was already in camp. And my family I told them how much I would just come there, and they was just like, well, he would want you to stay in camp and get ready for your fight. And he told me he was proud of me, and now when you do all the things that I had to endure before the camp to just be motivated for this fight.
Well, first of all, my condolences on your loss. I had another question about the fight. You come into the fight technically as the challenger, but of course you had never lost the belt in the ring. We all know what happened with the situation where you vacated the title. So my question is, do you come into this feeling as though you're still the champion and you're fighting a good challenger like Andy Lee, or do you feel like you come into the fight and you're there to basically take back what you believe is yours in the first place?
No, I'm actually going to let Andy Lee have that pressure on him to be able to perform like the champion. I've done that 3-4 times with having the belt. Now it's up to him to do the same thing and have that pressure. I had that pressure. Now I have pressure of being a challenger, and I've been here before, so I'm going to do nothing no different besides what I've learned as being a champion, to go up in here as a more polished challenger and, go in there and try to be a 2-time champion.
And do you have any regrets about giving up the belt under the circumstances under which you gave it up?
Dan, I never had regrets in life. If you have regrets in life, then you kind of punish yourself, and I never had regrets in life. I think the decision I made was vacating my belt for my family, my uncle passing away with cancer, and being there with him, and being endless hours and talking and being there with him and being there with my family and my son. You can never get that time back, and I think in that moment I became bigger than the belt, and I see right now with me having an opportunity again to fight for the same belt and come back in there and make more money than what people can expect I can make. It let me know that my name is whole weight in this game, and I'm gonna just continue to do what I usually do, and that's be Kid Chocolate.
Very good, Peter. Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you guys up there. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Kendrick Johnson from Sports Magazine. Please go ahead.
Hi, how y'all doing? Peter, you just talked about making the big money. How big a deal is it to be able to get your belt back and be able to go get the big names in the division?
Well, let me just say first and foremost, that's why people thank Al Heyman so much, because he's able to know what we worth as fighters. You know, fighters are mistreated, misused, and abused all the time. And I think I'm one of the few that really, really appreciate what Al Heyman has done for fighters, because I not only can live really good, but I also can do the right things with my money to make sure that I can retire with money in the bank and do the things that, you know, athletes supposed to do with their money when they're making big money. So I want to say, first and foremost, I'm very thankful for that. And I'm also thankful that I didn't came to the full circle of myself being a man and being a father and being inspired to know that, you know what I'm saying, when you're making this kind of big money, that you got to just be thankful. So I'm thankful to fight for the belt for the second time. I'm thankful to make the money I've been making, but, you know, we work so hard for money, but money burns so easy, so you got to really know what your value is. And sometimes my value go beyond what the money can give me.
Gotcha. And with you having the difficult year, sitting out and everything, my condolences to you about your uncle. How much emotion will it be to have your hand raised and hear and do? Well, I think altogether, I lived out emotional already when I became the champion the first time when I beat Hassan Nadam, where it was like my story paid off for me. You know, I had so many people tell me I couldn't do it, or I seen so many people that was ahead of me, you know, looking like they was going to be champions before me, and I've been putting all these hours and effort into boxing, and when my time paid off, it was for me to cry and understand that it was worth all that time. So this time it just, you know, it's part of the story. I vacated the belt, and now we got a guy, you know, which people thought Korobov was a healthy challenger, but then now we even got a better challenger in Andy, a better fight now, because he proved to everybody he beat Korobov, and now it's like we fighting. Now it's like I get the better half of the belt, and it's like a fight work for the fans to see. So altogether, man, the politics of boxing, I don't get too much in tune with that. Just worry about what's in front of me, and you know, Andy Lee's in front of me right now, and he's looking to come in there and try to, you know, beat me and catapult himself to superstardom, and, you know, that thing can happen if I allow it to. And myself, I have to tell myself why these things cannot happen. And how much are you going to try to make it a boxing fight that you're known for being a better technical fighter and not getting to a slugfest?
Well, altogether, I think it's me and Andy Lee stepping in the ring, and we having chemistry together. That's what makes a good fight. It's like the chemistry of what we have, like the game plans that we work on camp, and then whatever he's working on when we get in the ring, we just now competing with that game plan, and we trying to figure each other out. That's going to make a good fight, and that's going to make the chemistry of the fight. So, you know, I wouldn't know. I could say all the things. I could say I can knock Andy out, and I can say all these things that I don't even know. All I can know is that, you know, Peter Kid Chocolate is willing to get in there with Andy and try my best. You know, keep continue behind the game plan we're working in camp right now, and you know, and if that works, then y'all gonna see a explosive fight with two guys that definitely got power. You know, Andy Lee got 24 knockouts, I got 22, and you know, this is a fight that, like I said, you really can say all the things you want to say about it, but you know, you really won't know until you see April 11th.
And thank you. Our next question comes from Jake Donovan from BoxingScene.com. Please go ahead.
Okay, Peter, I have a question for you. I mean, you come into the fight. I mean, you're the guy who's never lost. Andy's got to figure out the way to beat you. So what does it say about Andy to you, though, that you're fighting a guy who, in his past few fights, has shown that he really doesn't know how to lose, despite the fact that he had 2 losses on his record?
Well, I look at it like this. You know, when the guy has losses on the record, he always proven to himself not to lose again. So that either can, like, put a person back into that mind state where they lost and give up easy, or you can fight through that and say, you know, this is why I've been here before and I cannot do this again, and fight through himself and tell himself why he wants to be a winner. But, like, I don't have the pressure of that. All I have the pressure of just saying, I just got to do what I continue been doing for 31 fights, and you know, and that's fine. Figure a guy out right there in that ring, and regardless what he's coming in there to try to do, I try to make it look like nothing, and continue to be the explosive boxer that I can be. And like I said, man, we're working on these things endless, and repetition is everything when we in camp. We're working on these things over and over again just to make sure that, I have the best chance to be a two-time champion of the world.
What does it mean for you that to have that opportunity to become a two-time champ, once again fighting for a title in Brooklyn, where you won your first title?
Well, I'm not too big on just having my story and my legacy all made up in my head and what we want for us. So I just look at it as, for me, like being a spiritual man, just looking at it as an opportunity from God to have a great story that I can inspire the kids, inspire, elderly people. I can inspire, other boxers. I can inspire them that they can do great things within themselves if they truly believe. So I think that's the majority what I get out of that is that I'm able to inspire so many people by what I do. And I would have never thought it could ever be this great.
And my last question for you, Andy. I know 3 years ago you wanted this fight. I believe Lou actually was putting on a show with Sergio Martinez at Madison Square Garden. They were looking for opponents for Andy Lee. You were campaigning for that fight. How grateful are you that the fight didn't happen then, and it's an even bigger fight now?
The fight was proposed back then, and in the end...
I'm sorry, Andy, I didn't mean to interrupt. That question was actually for Peter, though.
Oh, excuse me, yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
On HBO, the fight couldn't be made at that time, and for whatever reasons, man, what I learned is about this sport, man, there's so many people talking about you ducking and dodging this person and all that. There's sometimes, when we give up all our lives to do something, and we can think so animalistic, like I gotta go in there and fight this guy to prove to these people. It's not really about that. It's really a business where people actually feed their families and pay their bills with. So you gotta make sure you working with the best people. I think Lou is definitely a great person to be working with because he's a really business-minded person. If you ever witness him, he's always on the phone talking boxing, always talking business. So I can never say that the fight never happened then because it wasn't meant to happen at that time, but it's meant to happen now, and that's why the fight is May April 11th.
All right, thanks, Peter. And Andy, if you do want to answer the same question.
I remember when the fight was proposed at the time, Emmanuel also, me, turned the fight down because he felt, and I felt, that I should have been fighting Sergio Martinez instead of Matthew Macklin at the time. And to put me in a fight with Peter Quillin, which in our eyes was a harder fight than fighting Sergio. And at the time, Quillin was an up-and-coming guy like me, so they wanted me and Peter to have the hard fight on the undercard, and then Macklin and Sergio to have the glamour fight, and so to speak, for the want of a better word. So for those reasons, we turned it down, and like I said, it wasn't because I didn't want to fight Peter. Here we are, this fight being made here proves that there's no fear on either side. The fight was made pretty easily, I guess, between Lou and Al Heyman.
It was made easily. All right, great. I'll let others ask questions. Best of luck to both you on April 11th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last question for this group comes from Jay Mwamba from Irish Echo. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Andy, how are you?
Hey, Jay. How you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, when we spoke a few weeks ago, you mentioned the names of the sparring partners you were working with that were coming from England. And when I looked them up, at least two of them, one's a cruiserweight and the other's a light heavyweight. What does that tell us about your preparations or how you expect to fight? I mean, you're going for power again?
Well, they're tall guys and right-handed guys, and somewhat similar style to Peter. That's what you look to replicate in your sparring partners. You look for them to have a similar style. So that was the idea of them. And they're physically strong guys, and like I said, they're similar to Peter. So that was why I got those guys in.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And Peter, okay, you're fighting a big, powerful southpaw with knockout power. And you mentioned the two fights that Andy has lost, but those two fights he lost, he was actually ahead on points. So is that going to be an influence on your preparations? Or, I mean, how do you expect to fight him? Are you going to try to knock him out, or are you going to try to outpoint him? Because obviously he's a very technical fighter. He's a former Olympic fighter.
Now, I want to ask you, as if you was a chemist and you was putting a formula together, right? And the formula you say you were going to put together, if you miss a measurement by one bit, and you don't actually have the chemistry with that, it's something going to bad happen. I can say what I'm going to do now, but it's actually when you get in the ring, you learn what you can actually do. So I've never been that type of fighter who I can say, I'm going to go in and I'm going to throw a million jabs at Andy and see what he does then. I'm not that kind of fighter. I said the chemistry of me and Andy Lee will make the great fight that we're going to put on. It's not about the losses he took. I'm totally different than every other fighter he's ever faced. And I'm pretty sure the same for Andy. He's not like no other guy like I ever faced. If you start comparing guys to guys you didn't fought, then you already been, to me, lost the fight. I look at Andy Lee and I respect him enough to say he was able to do a lot of things a lot of guys couldn't do, even with 2 losses, and that become a champion of the world. So I give him that much respect to say that, he's able to go out there and be a champion and put on a show, but Kid Chocolate has done that over and over again. I've been the champion already. I vacated the belt. So many, anytime I do something like that, it become big news. So it's like, I'm going here and fight Andy Lee, and it's just going to be another part of my story, or it's going to be a part of his story, and we're going to create this together with the chemistry. So, for you to see how I'm going to fight, you got to tune in April 11th. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's all I can really say about that.
Okay. One more question, Peter. Are you still throwing those Hershey's Kisses, before fights when you enter the ring?
I'm actually going to be throwing a chocolate sponsored by a chocolate company right there in the Barclays Center. If y'all tune in and y'all wait to see, then y'all get to see what kind of chocolate that is. And I'm very thankful to be able to have people, reach out and, support me for all the great reasons why I fight. And, y'all just need to stay tuned. And if you're there in attendance, I hope you catch one of those chocolates because it's coming straight from the heart.
Well,
Thank you. Is that it? Hey, Pete, before we go, could you please announce and spell your uncle's name one more time for the media?
Yes. My uncle's name is Eric Munson. That's E-R-I-C. Last name Munson, M-U-N-S-O-N. My uncle was my father figure when my dad went to prison. He was the most important person to me in my whole life, and I'm inspired to be a great man like he was. I can never tell y'all how I felt about that whole losing my uncle, because this is the first time I ever lost somebody so close to me that I'm really compassionate to anybody who has a family member that's struggling with cancer. I want to tell those people is that no matter how much that person is fighting with cancer, you fight with those people until they don't have no more to fight with, and continue to do that, because that's what inspires each other to keep on living and do the right thing while we're here on earth when we have a breath.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to reintroduce Lou DiBella and to say goodbye to Andy and to Pete. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. And then Lou, turn it over to the media, please.
Peter, sorry to hear about your uncle.
Andy, thank you for this opportunity as well, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. See you guys soon.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Peter. I think the key for this event on April 11th and for this fight, and frankly for both fights, is that the outcome of these fights are in doubt. And I believe in my champion Andy Lee, but I also know that Peter Quillin is a great champion himself, an undefeated fighter. These are two of the best middleweights in the world and two of the best fighters in the world, and they both have power, both explosive. And the real winners are going to be the fans that come to the Barclays Center or tune in to PBC on NBC.